Welcome back to Everything from Nothing, Ireland's, I don't know what kind of podcast do you think we are now?
Most surprising podcast.
Most surprising podcast, most inconsistent podcast. We're back now and we're changing it up a bit. Like, this is either a really creative idea or pure laziness. We don't know yet, but we're deciding to not. Well, I'm not going to know who the guests are each time, and Owen is going to get onto them and pick the guests. It's kind of like copying the Tommy Tiernan show, as you might say, but like, let's be honest, like, I don't know, things have to start moving to the internet. RTE is like, I don't know if they could do it a bit better, so we're going to do it better than RTE. but the idea anyway is that it's different to the Tommy Tiernan show. The reason we don't want to, so that I don't know who the guests are, is that so it can be a more authentic conversation and to not overthink what we're going to talk about. So that's what we're doing now, and our guest is Simon, and we're joined by Stevie and you. We're also hosting it. Simon, so you have, so like this is weird, unfortunately. Like, I don't know, was wondering was it going to be awkward or not first time, but the idea, sorry, getting caught up now. This is fucking definitely awkward, doing it this way. But yeah, so Simon, anyway, you're from Thurles, and you have a sound. Well, you're not.
I live in Thurles.
You live in Thurles. You live in Thurles.
I'm Welshman, actually, originally.
Oh, Welshman. And so you have a sound hire company. Is it just sound lights and?
Yeah, sound lighting and screens and visuals.
Yeah.
And
So you work at events.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
I suppose professionally for the last 5 years or so.
Okay, right.
Full time.
Okay.
Before that, on and off.
And how did you get into it? Was it?
I suppose it's something that has been progressing since I was in school.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So
Like, would you done that stuff in school, like, or just?
Yeah, and actually, I went to high school, and whatever, do you know the way you have a form teacher?
Yeah,
she looks after you all the way through high school. So whatever she saw in me, she saw something. And one day she called me up to the desk and she gave me this note. And she said, "You need to take this up to there's another teacher in a school called Mr. Edwards.
Okay.
He's the history teacher." I was very confused. I didn't know what she was sending me for at all.
Yeah.
So I took this note up anyway, and written on the note was Godspell.
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 Like the
The
musical.
musical, yeah. I didn't know what it was at the time.
Yeah.
So it turned out that Mr. Edwards was the guy that was in charge of all the sound and lighting and production for the musicals at the school. And that particular year, they were doing Godspell, and
No way.
she put me forward for
Okay.
it. She obviously saw something that I didn't even see myself. But
That's mad.
yeah.
That's really cool. And so, like, what was the point then, like 5 years ago? So I'd assume then you would have been working at gigs the whole time, and like.
Yeah, a lot of gigs. I suppose the other side of my business is sort of installation.
Okay. Yeah.
We do a lot of installation of speakers and sound systems and paging systems and
Yeah.
LED lighting systems and
Okay. All right.
yeah.
And what was the point where you decided like that you wanted to do it yourself, like?
I've always sort of been self-employed.
Okay. Yeah.
Some way or another. I don't know if you know, but I ran a pub here in town for a while as well.
Yeah.
Which pub was it?
The one next to Supermax.
Oh yeah.
For my troubles.
Yeah.
It was hard work. It wasn't all bad. Now we had some good
There's
times.
good music in there, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah, very
there was.
good.
Yeah, we had some good times in there.
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah. What was it like? What time? When was that? Like, so what year would that been?
We opened that in 2010 and we closed it late 2011, simply because the recession had really kicked in.
Yeah.
And it was just too hard. It was too hard to make a living out of it.
Yeah. I'm hearing all this stuff now about like pubs in town, and the rates just like for Thurles specifically just going like through the roof for the pubs in town, and it's like I don't know, some places are maybe closing down or have closed down and stuff because of it. Like, and like, was that like was all that stuff like in terms of rates and stuff, was that hard to keep up on?
It was.
Then?
It was hard to keep up with everything. I mean, your income tax, your VAT.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people. It's a pipe dream for a lot of people to run a pub, but when you
Yeah.
actually do it,
Yeah.
you then realise that there's all these outgoings that you never even thought of before.
Yeah.
You know, and they just keep coming in the door. We were in there one day, and a woman just walked in and introduced herself as from Imro. You know,
Okay,
music
yeah.
royalty road,
Yeah.
and wanted to charge us $500 or $600 a year. You know,
Yeah, that's
out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I know.
you can be guaranteed most people would want to set up a pub. Like that Imro one is a really good example because that's like
Yeah.
one that someone
You just would
didn't
never
know
think
about.
of it.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad, actually.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the maddest thing you've seen in the pub that might be okay to talk about?
And we can edit out if it's not.
Yeah, if it's not, we're this is an open platform. We're okay with putting it out there. If you're comfortable, we're comfortable.
There was some stuff that happened on the pool table that I'd rather not talk about. I'm just going to throw it out there, and the people that are involved know who they are.
Yeah. The audience can decipher.
Yeah.
Especially, I suppose, yeah, right beside like Supermax as well. Like even like not even like got to do with the pub, but there's that location. Supermax like is like 3 o'clock in Thurles out at Supermax is just has been insane since day one.
It was hard work because when you first open a pub, and obviously you're trying to build a good reputation for yourself.
Yeah.
And you got Supermax next door, and
yeah,
there's a lot of people that like to hang around outside Supermax.
Yeah.
Some of them might be nice people, I'm sure, but some of them are not so nice.
Yeah.
But like, it's literally right next door to the pub, so when people drive past and they see those people outside, they're like, I might not go in there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then there was other nights there where we had to throw people out, and we were literally stuck inside the pub until 5 and 6 in the morning because they were outside.
Really, just
throwing threats and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
We'd have to wait till they went home.
And you didn't live there or anything?
No, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like that's like, I suppose, like, yeah, there's I definitely think like the idea, like when someone thinks of like the idea of setting up a pub, it's like with setting up any company or anything anyway, but like specifically with pubs, like it's definitely the idea of it is more glamorizing than like what's actually involved. Like
100% it is.
Especially when you're like what you're really dealing with is people puking all over the place and like people threatening you and that kind of crack. It's not just like, oh, I own a pub and you don't just kind of drink with the people like it's
and
you can, but
it's literally a 24-hour job.
Yeah,
it is. You eat, sleep, and breathe it.
That was a busy pub when you had it, wasn't it?
It was busy, yeah. Like we did all right out of it.
There was a nice back in it, nice.
Yeah, we did all right out of it to begin with. It was just as time went on, and you might remember as well that Kennedy's Bar did the late license. They had all the bands and stuff in there, and like
they had massive gigs.
The whole town flocked into Kennedy's. I think even
his
hotel lost a lot of business as well because of them. Yeah.
Wow, that's mad.
But anyway, it was something that they did at the time, and it was a great idea for them.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah, a lot of pubs lost out to them at the time.
Yeah. Actually, like that time as well. Like at least there was gigs. Like I don't know. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. It's definitely died down and stuff. Like
it has for sure. Yeah.
But like obviously not even the virus, but just in general in the town, I feel like But the thing about Thurles is though, it definitely has like within like it has like all the right venues. Like there's a venue for something. Like you know like there's one that could be for more like electronic music, and then you have like the Source that's like I don't know, it kind of works for a lot of places, but Thurles has like I don't know, it's definitely not been the like opportunity for gigs isn't being maximized like yet, because I think because you need like you know you have yourself doing what you're doing, like it's like you can't put in all your time doing what you need to do, and then like it's hard to organize gigs as well, so you need kind of people who are just like motivated on organizing gigs, because like I think for anyone in Thurles, like there's like an opportunity to do that if you do it right and stay at it, because I think people do try it and the first few ones will never work, but you have to definitely persist with it. You've
got to stay at stuff, consistency is key for that kind of thing, you know?
Definitely. This whole thing with festivals, you know, like it's like with festivals, it's like you have to go into setting up a festival prepared to lose money for the first 3, and then if you go in with that mindset, you're more likely to succeed. But if you think you're going to make money the first time, it's unlikely. But not saying it's not possible, but it's definitely hasn't happened often. But then by year 4, that's when you break even, and then by year 5, you're like, that's how long of a.
I think if you go into something initially just wanting to make money out of it, people see through that.
Definitely, yeah. And they don't last. Like you see that when like the second like someone sets up a festival and then MCD come along, or not even MCD, and someone comes along and who has money buys it, and then the next year it's totally different, and then the next year no one goes. Like it's people really, I think people have like this sixth sense when it comes to like, I don't know, you just kind of know when something's wholesome or when it's come with good roots. Like
I think so,
you know what it is. When did you move to Ireland actually?
I actually can't remember if it was 2001 or 2002. It was one of those years. It was nearly 20 years ago.
And what was like the event scene? What was the crack then like?
Ireland was a booming place when I first came over here. So
did you come to Thurles?
I came straight to Thurles because I had family here. Yeah. And so the first job I had was with my cousin Paul, I think you know
I
Paul.
know Paul well, yeah.
And so he had me out DJing, which was nothing new to me. I've DJed for a long time over in Wales, and got on really well with it over here.
Yeah.
I ended up branching off on my own. I had 3 or 4 lads working for me here, and I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, times were good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous, the money that was brought in DJing. It was just crazy.
Really?
Do you know it was?
You were off DJing with Paul then and
Not for a finish, no.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I started out with Paul, and then I branched off on my own then.
So you were DJing yourself, like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I built up all the gear, and I sent the lads out.
Okay, right.
Every weekend. I mean, we were working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and it was nearly 300 quid a night.
wow.
That's mad.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Like,
That's
you know, I
mad.
put a deposit together and bought my house
Lovely.
simply out of DJing.
That's
brilliant.
mad.
You wouldn't see it now.
No.
That
But
yeah.
even with bands, like the money has changed completely. Like 'cause it's
Yeah.
like even like going back a few years ago, like pubs would have been in more of a position to be able to pay like 300-400 quid for a band. But like now, a lot of pubs can't really afford to pay more than like 200 or 250 for a band because just realistically
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to stay open.
Yeah.
I think, and yeah, in terms of like in DJs specifically, I think what might have actually killed that, like for that amount of money for like DJs, was like the controller. And I have nothing against controller. I don't believe in like what's right or wrong. But what I do know is what the controller did was like, so the decks is completely different. The controllers you connect it to the laptop and you can sync it like automatically stuff, and it allows everyone to get into it. It's an amazing thing, and I think it's a great thing for starting off. But what I think it did do was it allowed everyone to become a DJ for fucking 60, 70 quid and be able to mix music on it. Like,
Definitely, yeah.
but so then what happened then is like, I don't know, like I wouldn't be surprised if DJs are starting to play in nightclubs to fucking play places soon, like, because it's like they're just getting the piss taken out of them, because I don't think people value the less pub owners. So it depends on the venue. Like if it's a nightclub, they will value the decks, like, and stuff. But like a lot of pubs will just be like, the pub owners don't see the difference and the showmanship of it, like, so they just see like, oh, just play music and you're going to do it for 50 quid.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I was going to go into a pub now and DJ,
Yeah.
I'd have a controller.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, why am I going to drag around a couple of hundred CDs or a couple of hundred vinyls? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a controller because everything is there. I have everything I need.
Yeah.
But what it has done is, whereas a long time ago you had to learn a particular skill, and you also had to build up a huge collection of music. You don't need to do that anymore because you can go out with your controller and everything's in the cloud.
Yeah.
So you literally don't even have to take any music out with you.
That's because that was the maddest. Like you had to pay for a DJ because they had the music.
Yeah.
But like now you could just like a pub owner can just go onto Spotify or something, and it's like
As I went through
mad.
high school, my mother would give me a couple of £1 every morning to get me dinner, and I wouldn't eat most of the way through high school. All my money was spent in the record shop.
No way.
Yeah.
That's mad. What kind of stuff would you have mixed? Like, was it?
Well, I suppose when I first started out, I would be your typical party DJ. So we'd do 18th and 21st and 40th and 50th birthday parties. And that was all 7-inch vinyl, you know. back in the day. So that's a good few years ago. So as time went on, then I got into a genre of hardcore over in the UK.
Okay. While you were in the UK, was it?
While I was in the UK,
Yeah.
So started producing hardcore over there as well, and worked with some of the best producers and DJs over there. So
and
quite a few big things over
that was
there.
definitely the biggest. Like hardcore was definitely the biggest thing in UK at that time as well. Like
I still have a love for it now.
That's class.
And I still have my 1210s, and I've still got a load of vinyl.
That's class.
And I would love someone in Ireland to come along and say, hey, we're going to put on a hardcore event.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let me DJ.
In your house.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Like,
Send
170 BPM all day. Let's go.
Let's go. Class. There's I think Ireland, like, it's there's very few like festivals that are like set on the one like genre and stuff, like, and I guess I suppose it's to do like it's a small island as well, but there's always a market. I could name 300 people that would go to a hardcore like event, and good people as well that would like, I don't know, enjoy it. And
I think one of the only genre-specific festivals I know, isn't there one that's just basically psytrance?
there was alien vibrations.
I suppose we just don't have the numbers here. It's a numbers game.
It is, and I think
even in the UK now, there's very few mainly hardcore events. same as everything else.
What's the Creamlands is like all hard house and stuff like that. Would that be the
Hard house and
closest?
stuff. Yeah, it would be kind of close, but
It's still not hard. So,
it wouldn't be hardcore, and
it's becoming commercial as well, isn't it?
very commercial. And like hardcore always dipped into commerciality over the years anyway.
Yeah,
and then went back again. But you'll still find the true hardcore fans, like they won't be at the hard house room. They won't be in there.
Yeah.
It's way too slow.
Yeah. Have you all been to festivals before? Yeah. What's all your favorite festivals? Start with you, Stevie.
The only like, kind of big festival I've been to was Townlands.
The Townlands, that's probably my favorite.
That was unreal.
That's class. What about you? Have you or one? It doesn't even have favorite you went to, but even one that you admire for like what they do or anything like that. Like,
I suppose if I was wanting to go to any festival, and normally it doesn't happen because we're working. But I would love to get to Glastonbury one day.
Yeah,
I really would.
I still would. Yeah, I would as well.
I haven't got there yet, but I would love to.
Would you want to go just to go, or to rent out your equipment there? Or just
to go and actually not do anything, but just take in the atmosphere for the weekend. And
Don't the bands not get paid for Glastonbury either? It's like it's voluntary or something. Or is that a different festival?
I think they'd get paid. Glastonbury.
very well.
There was one of them that was like some big festival I remember reading about where it was actually for charity and the bands didn't actually get paid, and I can't remember which one it was.
There definitely there's been a few one-off gigs, but I feel like there was one festival that was like that. I can't remember though.
Maybe Glastonbury used to be like that, did it?
It could have been. Oh well, like Glastonbury probably that was started when Woodstock was on, and Woodstock was a lot of that was like, like some of the biggest acts just showed up because they knew what the crack was, and it was like this was a once in a lifetime. They came for the fun, and Glastonbury was very like that in the first few years. So you could have had the biggest like bands in England in the early 70s just showing up for the.
There's like a lot of bands used to do like free concerts at Stonehenge. Like pretty much like when before Stonehenge was like closed off. You can see old videos from like the 80s. Like my father would have been showing them to me, and like you had bands like Hawkwind and stuff, and like they just kind of turned up to Stonehenge and played like, and you just had like all the hippies there, like it looked like mad crack altogether. But now obviously you can't.
No red tape.
It's all tourist stuff now. I actually have a lad I know. He works at festivals. Really funny, but he would have been around at some of those parties at Stonehenge, and he told me this story of like they were all partying over there, and there was two people that were there who weren't at the party, and but they showed up just to see Stonehenge, and they were from Australia. They were like traveling around, and he said he kept looking over at this guy like, and he was watching him like, and every now and again he'd see your man pull out the chisel and a bit of hammer and start hammering at Stonehenge, taking it away, and he still doesn't understand this guy because he said he was a tourist over from Australia, but what he said next, like, definitely insinuated that he was off his head. He said he needed to take a bit over to grow Stonehenge over in Australia. So that's what he was doing. He was trying to take a bit of rock off it to grow his own Stonehenge in Australia.
I can see that.
So it's like, was he a tourist or was he off his head? He thought he was a tourist. Definitely a bit of both. Well, what about you? What's your favorite?
We did this thing, we go to a different festival every summer,
Okay.
So I don't know. I keep calling it Ballycastine, but it's Benicassim,
So I can't.
Do you know where it's?
No.
We went to Optimus Alivis Portugal, Benicassim, Spain.
Oh, right, okay.
That was brilliant crack, yeah.
Benicassim. What did you call it though?
I went to another one, Rockworcher in Belgium. I used to call it Ballycastine because that's somewhere in Tip.
That's funny,
Well, it's called Benicassim, I think. Benicassim. It's in Spain, but it was brilliant. Just because. The people there and
different, definitely. I'd never gone to.
I like the Thurles in Thurles. That was brilliant as well.
Yeah,
I think that was probably the best because we hadn't been anywhere before.
The first random.
The atmosphere here was unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Fuck, that's like. When you see those pictures,
the first
I'm always envious.
First fail, I was 12 and we weren't allowed to go and we went anywhere. I think that was the highlight.
I think I was about the same age. Yeah.
Brilliant.
We were actually here on holiday.
Oh, brilliant.
The first failure. My parents brought us over and they had no clue this concert was on in the town.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
And so we were just like left to our own devices because my mother got roped in helping my aunt make burgers and sell drinks and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My father just disappeared off to the pub, I think, for the whole weekend.
That's right,
And we were left, I think Pord got us wristbands and we actually got into the failure.
Oh, wow.
Saw some of the stuff up there, so it was great.
Was that your first time in Thurles?
I think it could be my second time.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
It was funny. Really set the stone of like you being in Thurles and what you were going to be involved in, like having that experience in Thurles. Like, what the fuck is this place? Like,
well, like it's amazing that I got to experience that.
Yeah.
I will always remember that. And I know we can never have that again. Because we'll just never be allowed.
No. Working at festivals, what's it like? Do you ever like, because like, what's it like being in the mindset? Because if you're someone that like would have like enjoyed and still enjoy festivals, like what's it like being? Is it two different mindsets when you're like working at it and when you're like going to it? Like,
well, a lot of the festivals we do would be the smaller stuff.
Okay.
So you could call them hippie fests.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But they're good fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Small little rendezvous.
And you're not looking at huge money either.
Yeah.
But you're not there for that really.
Yeah.
So the mindset is kind of, you don't want anything to go wrong. But if something goes wrong, it's not so much the end of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if a mic goes on stage or if a cable goes down,
yeah,
there's no big issue. You just saunter up onto the stage, sort out your cable, get everything back up and running again. If that was a big major festival now, it's those are headaches. You know what I mean? And I never want to be that big. I have no intention of it. I love being small. I love being personable and approachable. And, you know, we deal with a lot of small other businesses as well. Yeah. And that's the way I like to be.
That's class. Yeah, you can stay like without, because you can do what you like doing. Like some people find like they're like something that they like doing and they end up adding stress to what they originally like doing. So like staying at the level like just stops that stress.
Look, there are some jobs we do that I do get stressed.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we do a lot of strictly productions and things like that as well. Yeah. So I mean, those are the ones where nothing can go wrong on stage.
Yeah, you just tunnel visioned in.
Yeah, I mean, so what we do for those is a lot of that stuff. We do a lot of pre-production on it. Okay. So all the lighting for those shows is all done beforehand. So basically, the show is just running at the touch of a button.
Okay. Yeah.
So that sets all your video cues. It sets all your lighting cues. Yeah. And all your audio cues. So everything runs. So if you run that show 10 times, it runs exactly the same every time. Yeah. So it takes your mind off worrying a lot of other stuff. Yeah. If you know what I mean. Yeah. Because I'm sort of a one-trick pony. And Lorraine, my partner, she often takes the mickey out of me for it. Yeah. Because I can literally concentrate on one thing at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't speak to me while I'm concentrating on this because I won't talk to you. I'm unable because I'm focused on something.
I think that's good though. That's when you get like, I don't know. That's the mindset where things work out. Like
mostly,
yeah. What was I gonna say? With that thing you were saying with smaller festivals, even in terms of like not only like would you not like get hassle from the production, but if a stage turns off at like Electric Picnic, like you will have like people tweeting it like this was the worst experience of my life or something. If a stage turns off at a smaller festival, the audience will make that the best moment of their lives. They'll say something, they'll all start chanting. And it doesn't like, because even when you're working at a festival, like, and if I've done stage work, when that happens, there's no stress then when all the audience are having to crack, like time just like, you don't care.
We did a stage last year where the crowd that they hired the generators from, the generator just kept stopping. Okay. Right? And the stage would go black, all the audio gear was down. I'm like, that's not good for us because I start getting stressed then because all my gear is getting shut off instantaneously. It's not good for it. No. But the fourth and final time that it happened, there was a fellow on stage playing guitar, and he unplugged his guitar and walked down into the crowd and just played the guitar and sang. No way. Kept them all entertained. Lovely. Wow. Well, we did a rewire and actually got a socket installed into the building that was next to us. And got the stage back up and running again.
Oh, that's class.
Yeah. So, and he entertained them for like 25 minutes without any PA system. Nothing.
Fair play, Jesus. Yeah. Like.
So he got some round of applause after that. Yeah. From all of us.
Yeah. Jeez, that's some testament of like, you know, that level of like, I don't know. It's a hard thing to do to not get flustered, even as a musician, when that stuff happens, and to stay in a good mindset. Yeah. That's class. Like.
And actually, the only other person I saw to do that was Ryan Sheridan. Yeah. We were doing him in Cashel a few years back, and he just unplugged everything on stage and just walked down into the crowd, and you could have heard a pin drop. Wow. It was just savage. Brilliant. It was just pure him and his guitar.
Why did he unplug it?
Because he wanted to.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Jesus. And the crowd just went completely silent and gave him the respect he deserved.
That's class. Yeah. Jeez, that's really cool.
Even the people at the bar, like you'd expect all the lads at the bar to carry on chatting away. Nah.
Whoa,
you could have heard a pin drop in there.
That's cool.
To every word he said.
It's amazing. That's really cool. I should like to experience that. There's the most now. This was at like a festival Dream Gather in 2014, I think. But was at like a psytrance stage. Definitely, like it was a bigger, smaller festival. Like there was a nice crowd there, but there was definitely I don't know, a small audience. Like but yeah, anyway, there was like a psytrance stage there, and there was one stage it kept like turning off, but there was this guy there, like, and he had sunglasses and he was so in it, like this whole time he was listening to psytrance, he was dancing. Oh no, sorry, right, you have the stage obviously and there's someone playing psytrance, and then you have the crowd, they're all dancing. In between the crowd and the stage was this guy playing like a child's guitar, like, you know, like a fucking with little lights and stars on it. So he was standing there doing this for hours, as if the crowd were dancing to him, like, and he was making the music come out, like. But then when the music stopped, that's when he was like pretending he was doing this solo or something, like, and he'd go into it, and everyone would just be there, like, going for it. But that's the cracking level of like comfortability people have at smaller festivals that you don't get at bigger ones, where they can just, you know, have the crack, like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a very intimate atmosphere, I think.
Yeah,
the smaller ones.
How do you think so? Like with all this, the virus and stuff. How do you see things going forward? Events and stuff. Do you think like, or what will be the long term effects on the event industry? Do you think this virus will have?
Ultimately, it's not going to be a good one.
Okay.
And to be honest, I don't think we're going to see proper events come back for maybe 12 months.
Yeah. Like the big ones, like picnic and
and even the smaller ones as well, because there's a fear of booking anything at all at the moment.
Yeah,
you couldn't book anything.
No,
because even if the government says, okay, lads, we'll be out of lockdown completely by August.
Yeah,
you go ahead and book an event for September, and you get everything in place, and there's tickets sold, and next thing, there's a second wave of this, and the government's like, no, everyone's got a lockdown again. So, like, until we're totally over that, I mean, who is going to actually book a venue, book artists, book production? It's just not going to happen.
No, definitely, like, definitely, and in terms of, like, when you see, like, what the contracts are like when it's involved with, like, dealing musicians and stuff, that, like, you're paying for regardless. You're paying for regardless, or you're not doing events again, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
you're going to lose money.
Yeah. So, definitely. There's so much as well. I wonder as well, just, I feel like, like if they were to go back now and big, like there'd be people would be too, like, I don't know, like even if Electric Picnic was going back, like it wouldn't be much fun, I don't think. I don't know. I feel like,
I mean, who wants to be at that with a load of restrictions in place? That's sort of the atmosphere dwindled away to half nothing, I would say.
Yeah.
And I really feel sorry for a lot of the lads that, you know, relied on those events as their bread and butter. And they built up their companies or their freelance or whatever over the years, and now they have like nothing, and there's no guarantee of anything coming back anytime soon.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the only thing they've ever known. Yeah. So what do those fellas do?
Yeah, like that's true. I've seen a lot about like small venues being in trouble. Like especially, I saw a thing on Twitter about like comedy venues in England. And they reckon that, was it 78% of small comedy of comedy venues in England will be closed within the next year.
Wow!
And it's like I couldn't believe I had to like do a double take when I saw 78%. Because
why comedy? Like I thought that would be less because people are kind of sitting away, or that's mad.
Just because, like, you see, music events or kind of things like that, they'd have more people who'd be willing to sponsor or fund it. Whereas like a lot of comedy events. You know, there's not as much kind of sponsorship or stuff there. Or like, there's not as much help for people who are struggling. Like, whereas like when artists are struggling, people will like buy extra albums and stuff. But it's like, if a comedian doesn't have a DVD, what do you do to support them? Like,
they're literally like unless you get to the top range comedians where you have a Netflix special. Other than that, you're relying on the gigs. Yeah, fuck,
I think you're going to see that across the board anyway.
Yeah,
because the amount of venues that are going to be closed after all this, is just going to be ridiculous. The pubs. I would imagine there's a load of pubs that aren't going to come back. So a lot of pubs that bands would have played in before that made great little music venues, they won't be there.
Yeah. There's definitely one plus side I would think about. I was thinking about this at the start as well. Once like I started seeing festivals were cancelled, was like, I think what a lot of things, like, it's going to be like, regardless, like it's going to be like really hard for people to come back, whether a pub or like whether a venue or a festival, like. But like, even from what I know, like in terms of festivals, I think like one plus side would be like, you'll have like a lot of people disheartened by it, and they mightn't go back at it, but you'll have a lot of people who will like persevere, and they'll go back at it, and they'll do well because they persisted, and it's a hard thing to do. But on the other side, I think the kind of clearing of it as well also gives this new space for maybe something new, like new
you like come back to the start again, won't it?
Yeah, or even just like taking like good bits from other festivals, and I don't know, I can't think
it's
of
like
any
a lot more
examples,
time for reflection, kind of like to kind of
for people that like see like I don't know, because it can be disheartening, and like if you like love doing festivals and you're like, but everyone's doing festivals, I could never do it if everyone's doing it. But now that there's like loads, there's space kind of there in a way as well, like.
Yeah,
but that probably applies.
I suppose you have to get something positive out of it. You have to look for the positives in it.
I got gloves. I got loads of gloves. And or do you know what I keep doing? Hey, maybe this is just a Portlaoise thing. I'm living in Portlaoise now at the moment, but like, so when you go into the shops, I don't know if it's like this in Thurles, but some hand sanitizers, you know the way they'll have like the hand sanitizer and then they'll have the thing for trolleys, the spray for trolleys. Yeah. Sometimes in some shops they'll have the trolley spray in the type of bottle that's in the hand sanitizer, and they switch around. So sometimes I'm going in there spraying trolley stuff on my hands because the other shop had it in the same bottle. Like, I don't know, is it just me or is everyone else doing that, or probably just me?
It's probably the same stuff, is it?
I thought it was on the bottle.
Really? Because your man said, whoa, don't do that. He told me not to spray it.
Spraying my hands with everything.
Just whenever hand sanitizer was left out there, I was using.
No, because they have like 2 bottles. You'll see. Well, all shops in Portlaoise had like 2 bottles, and like, but they'd be switched around. But your man was like, "Whoa, don't spray that in your hand." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "For the trolleys." Like, and I was like, "Okay."
Don't mind.
Good sign, maybe as well.
It's tough life. What time is it now, actually? But have you any plans, like in terms of like setting up events, setting yourself in Thurles, or obviously not at the moment, but would you had or?
No, I don't think I'd ever go into setting up events myself.
Okay. Right.
It's very time consuming.
Yeah. Is there anything you could say? Because like a lot of people, obviously, who listen to this from Thurles, like to try and like, I don't know. Because I hope people in Thurles will like become more motivated to put on events, like, because loads of people love events.
So do I. Yeah, I mean, like whether it's me working at it or whether it's someone else working at it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the more things you have going on, the better for the whole industry.
Yeah.
Better for everyone that's in the music industry or plays instruments or wants to get into a band.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I think the main thing, if we could somehow work out like accommodation in Thurles, like, which is like a whole other thing, but if that was sorted out, that's the only problem that is like the only obstacle I see at the moment that's stopping Thurles from thriving as like its main industry being events, because we have the history, we have the facilities, we have the potential, we have the people, like terms of musicians, like people who have the equipment, and people like there's actually so many people, like, because I did the events management course and a load of people in Thurles have done that. There's a load of people who have done events.
The talent in Thurles is unbelievable.
It's insane, and it's often around the
between
event.
bands and techies, it's just crazy the talent that's here.
If it could be tapped into even a small percentage, like it turns to boom, like it's just.
Yeah.
Although I do think that Thurles will never be an event town again.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just think those days are past. Yeah. And I think that Thurles will end up being known for something else, but I don't think it'll be that.
Yeah.
That's not to say that all those talented people in this town won't be working, because they will be at some stage.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think a lot of it's going to be here.
Yeah.
We're going to lose a lot of venues.
What do you think the event?
No,
why do you think it's not an event town?
I just don't think we're set up for it anymore. We don't have the venues.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Like with the stadium, is it? Or you mean?
Well, like the stadium is still there.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
in
still
terms of like nightclubs and stuff.
Oh, nightclubs.
Yeah. I mean, we've got one nightclub in the town now.
Yeah. And the rates keep going up on them. And
of course. And like we're going to lose pubs from this COVID disaster. There's no question. So that means losing venues, even if they were really small venues. Yeah. Like the type of venue where, I don't know, if you were starting off playing the guitar and singing on your own, you needed a small little place to go in and say, hey, look, you know the way it starts out. I'll come in and play a Saturday night because I just want to get used to the crowd or whatever. Just phone me a few drinks and I'll do it for that. You know, so some of those pubs might be gone, and that's a great starter place for a lot of the big bands that are around now.
True. Yeah, you do need that kind of.
You do need that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
you need that progression, like especially for confidence and being comfortable. Starting off in small pubs.
When I first came here, so many people used to come into this town out on the weekend from all around.
They did.
Yeah.
And that's why the town was thriving. That and the fact that we had lots of places for them to go.
Yeah,
The Munster Hotel was open.
Yeah.
There was always live music in there on the weekends.
Yeah.
And they had a nightclub as well. I don't know how busy that was. It was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
But Hayes' Hotel, they always had live music. Then you had most of the bars and pubs around the town had live music or DJs.
Yeah.
Always something. Or the brewery was open.
There used to be a great pub on Fire Street, Milroy's, for people that wanted to start back, you know.
Right, yeah.
And we used to play it, and we were so bad.
Where was that?
It was right beside the Super Value.
Okay.
Right next door to it. And it was a fine big space, and bands played, but I think we were 16 or 17, we were playing gigs there, and we were so bad we used to just keep changing our name.
That's funny.
And we keep getting more gigs. And he goes, "Yes, are the same people." And we go, "We're not. We're a different
One way of doing it.
That's funny. That's funny.
We're a completely different band.
Yeah.
We play this song. That band didn't play this.
Coming in with fake mustaches.
But he'd always let you play like, which was brilliant, like, you know.
Yeah, that's what was the? Can you give like an example of, like, you know, when you're doing like the work and stuff? What was like? I'll give you an example. Like, I don't know. We set up this rave before, and it went. We had everything organized, and it was set up so well, and it wasn't inside.
All
it
your
wasn't a
permits
tip
got
area.
and everything, yeah.
And but yeah, we had everything set up perfectly. Forgot one wire, and it was like, you know, the simplest wire. It was like the red and white, like, aux to the thing. Yeah. So now, in terms of you as someone who rents out equipment, what's like the most ridiculous thing, without naming festivals or events or people, but like, what's the most ridiculous thing that you've seen like someone forget or ask for, where you're just like, how did you not prepare for that or something like?
Right, okay. I had a DJ arrive one day without his laptop, and actually he just walked in. He had nothing.
What do you say? What do you say to you?
That's
we were
incredible.
like,
where do you want to plug in? Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, what have you got? Because I need to be able to plug you in. He had nothing. Not even a bag.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Even a memory sticker.
Just a can-do attitude, wasn't it?
I think he was a bit of a smoker. I don't know.
That's funny.
So, look, we had an old laptop there, and there was some virtual DJ on it, so we got him going.
That's funny. That's good though.
Cool.
I that's the stuff I love. I think that stuff, it's funny. It's at the time you're like, what? But when you look back at it, because at the end of the day, you're in an event. The event industry is always going to be stuff like that. You'd hope so. Like, that's the stuff that makes it, that nonsense. Like, because at the end of the day, it's for a place for people to, like, you know, drink and stuff. Like,
did you ever stuff go badly wrong for you on a gig or anything? No.
Not that I can really remember. No, nothing. Disastrous.
No, Fire Festival. You've seen that documentary?
No, nothing like that.
I watched
Thank God.
Yeah, that was something else. I watched it again like the other day. That was like madness.
Like you'd have really small stuff, little hiccups that go wrong. I suppose the key thing is that if you're the only ones that notice it and you get it sorted, no one else notices, and it didn't really go wrong.
No,
yeah. Do you find if you go to events now that, like, you're not working at, do you find you're ever like, oh, they could turn the bass down a bit or something like that? Like,
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time.
That's
right. Guitarists are definitely the worst.
Yeah.
They turn themselves up too loud,
Yeah, and it's always the lead guitarist.
Yeah.
It's always his amp.
And it sounds terrible, is it?
Well, it's just the fact that, like, the more he turns himself up,
I know.
The more you've got to push the rest of the band up to level everything out in front of house. And there was one time there I did a band, and he just point blank refused to turn down his guitar. For whatever reason, just wouldn't work with us. Just point blank refused. And his guitar was so loud that I had most of everything else in the front of house sort of raised so
just to be able to hit. Fuck.
The level in there was just ridiculous.
Right?
And I never forget it. Because even though I pushed everything else up to match his guitar, because if I left it down, I'd have been the worst engineer in the world. His guitar would have been just over everything else. And his missus actually came up to me and said, can you turn his guitar up a bit? I was like, what?
Jesus Christ.
No.
Jesus Christ. What? Jesus.
I was like another time, or like, it can, do you know Billy Noble?
Yeah.
Billy Noble.
Drummer,
yeah.
Love Billy, lovely
drummer.
Some drummer, but oh my God, does he hit those drums?
He's good.
So actually, one of the Failure Bjorgs there, Billy was drumming away, and someone actually came up and said, "Hey, can you turn down his snare a bit?" I said, "It's actually gone out of the mix altogether. Can't turn him down."
Yeah, did you ever find, like, I don't know, people coming, like, would you get that often, like, other people who might be off their heads, who might know a bit about sound, just coming up, like, asking you, like, do you get that, like, people asking you to turn down singular things,
Of course,
Most of the time, you just humour them.
Or you never DJ, no?
You did,
for a long time,
Do you get mad requests, like, and shit?
You get some crazy stuff. Actually, I did a wedding once, and a fella ran up to me, bald-headed, he was off his face, I'd say. But anyway, he goes, you need to get some dance music back on.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Dance music.
We're coming back around to that now shortly. And they were that kind of a crowd. Do you know what I mean? So then he throws a 50.
Okay,
DJ.
Dance music is coming on now.
Okay, yeah. So played a few dance tunes, and crowd loved it. Then we switched the music up a little bit again, and then he came back again and started throwing more 50s over the DJ.
No way! Wow.
Yeah. I think we had about a 250 quid tip that night.
Lovely.
Wow.
Just from this fella.
To play music that you probably prefer to play.
And I was probably going to play it anyway.
Yeah.
So then I was doing another wedding about 6 months later, and the same guy was at the
No way. This guy doesn't know any of them. He's just showing up for a chance to hear some music.
And sure enough, we got more money again that night.
Whoa.
It must be just his thing.
That's mad. Showing up
Just going around tipping DJs.
a wedding, yeah.
Cool.
But I haven't DJed in a long time, and to be honest, I don't really DJ as much anymore, because there's this, I don't know what there is. There's this sort of perception in the industry.
There's a stigma around it.
There is, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're doing sound and lighting, and you're seen DJing as well, you should be taken seriously.
Okay.
Which I mean, if you've learnt your craft and you know what you're talking about, is utter shite.
Yeah.
A lot of people still look at DJs as, you just press play. And
Yeah.
Look, there's loads of DJs out there who think they know everything.
Yeah.
And they haven't a clue.
Yeah.
So I sort of had to really divide the two.
Yeah, I know that makes sense.
I had to.
Which is like you definitely, and that applies to so many like jobs and stuff. It's like, you know, like, God forbid a doctor gets sick, like, because then you'd be like, I don't trust that. Like, it's like attaching like what someone does to their thing is bullshit. Like, but they do, it is a thing.
Yeah, I know it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
I'll do weddings for close friends or whatever.
Hopefully that guy's around anyway.
He's more than welcome at any wedding I'm doing.
Imagine he was though. He's just like, he just hears there's a wedding on. He's like, a chance to hear some music I like, and just doesn't know the people. Just rocks on 250 quid.
I just couldn't believe it.
That's funny, Jesus.
Would you be doing a lot of people watching when you're sober and they're all locked? You're just saying, oh my God.
Well, I've got to be honest, Hugh.
You don't even know.
Most of the weddings that I've done, I've known the people very well. So, by the end of the night comes,
you're locked.
I'm with them.
Yeah. You're asking yourself for a request. Hey, can you play this? What time is it now? Let's finish up now because I have to head. But sound for coming on. Is there anything you want to say? Like, is there any plans? Obviously, you're on hold now with events. And
I'm on hold with events. We're still working away with installation side of bits.
Yeah, so what kind of installations? You talking about, like, art installations or?
No, so like, say the likes of a hotel there, or take Hayes' Hotel down the road. We look after a lot of their stuff. So they reopened their bar there lately. So we spent the week in there redoing LED inside the bar. All that kind of stuff.
Okay, So
like
electronic, I tell you.
Yeah, we look after a lot of nightclub installations, PA systems, lighting systems, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So, funny enough, actually, I was in CUH in Cork yesterday installing network points. So there you go. You could just be anywhere.
Yeah. That's good.
But look, we'll stay working one way or another.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else to say?
I learned an interesting fact about our studio last week.
The studio we're in now?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
I found out that my aunt lived here, right, back in the 30s or whatever. She was born here. Just coincidence. Weird. But then I was talking to her daughter there during the week, and they rented it when they came to town first, and she said, it was built by Gleeson's of Hall Street. and they rented it out. The three of them, they built the 3 houses. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She found that out off her uncle. Yeah, so there you go.
That's
mad. Because my father was actually talking about some house on this road.
No way.
A little while back, and this must.
You're in it.
Yeah.
That's mad.
So I think he used to come here when he was a child.
That's right. Yeah. So what they did was. Yeah. So it's really weird. So like Gleeson's back in 1934 decided that Croig needed a studio.
And here it is.
Yeah.
So you sound.
I've come back to China.
Yeah. So we'd just like to thank you for that.
That's mad.
Yeah. Isn't it mad?
That is mad.
It's a very small world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really weird.
What were you? Have you any interest? Have you been up to much or? Oh, you got accepted into music.
Yeah, going studying guitar in Cork School of Music.
That's class. Yeah. Are you excited for that?
Can't wait. Yeah.
Class.
Spent 4 years like performing with other people.
Yeah. What? I don't think it's not. You've turned it up. No, it's up. I don't know which one is it. That's the Angelus. Don't do that. No, that's the intro. Oh no. That one will turn off. Oh yeah, you can't hear us. You're probably like, what the fuck are
I
you
can hear it.
Oh, can you hear it? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I heard you.
But yeah, we'll finish up now anyway. Thanks to the credit union for sponsoring all this equipment. We're actually going to make a funny advertisement with them, and it's going to be a full little clip, 2 or 3 minute clip, and it's going to be something that you never seen before. Definitely not from a credit union. And
thank the Gleesons of Hall Street.
yeah, I was just going to say. Normally, I'd say thanks to DHRyan Architects.
Anytime.
For building the studio. Thanks for letting us in the door. And yeah, thanks for DHRyan Architects for sponsoring camera equipment and stuff. And so from now on, I don't know, it's going to be weird, but we're going to stay trying it for a while. I'm not going to know who the guest is going to be, and we're going to see what happens. It could be weird, it could be not, but hopefully it's authentic.
It worked out well.
Yeah, it actually came out well. Just weird at the start, but yeah, that worked out well. Sound for coming on as well. Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, thanks.
See you next week. Bye. Fucking hell. It's weird every time you get off, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
So strange.